This next mountain is Mount Carmel. It's up in the north of Israel. It's actually right above that great plain called Megiddo, where, according to the Jewish tradition, the final battle, Armageddon, is going to be. Anyone know whose mountain this is? Who stood on that mountain? Elijah. And he's having a contest with the prophets of Baal or Baal. And what's interesting about it is it's at the tail end of 3.5 years of drought caused by Elijah. So he's been controlling the economic anti-prosperity of the nation for 3.5 years. That's a lot to get in your head. Like, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. And at the end, it's about 3 years in, God says to him, I want you to go reveal yourself to Ahab the king. In other words, come out of hiding. It's time for you now to have this major showdown. Again, I'm the guy. I'm the man. On the way in, he meets an old friend of his. This is from 1 Kings chapter 18. When he meets Obadiah, we get this kind of parenthetical comment about Obadiah. It said, Obadiah feared the Lord greatly. And when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50s in a cave and fed them with bread and water. So here's a dude that rescued 100 prophets of God. And then he goes and meets his friend Elijah. And Elijah says, I'm the only one left. How do you feel if you're Obadiah? We always focus on Elijah. But I think Obadiah is an important part of the story. He's actually at the beginning of the story and later in the middle of the story. So fast forward up to the mountain. Elijah calls like, I call you out. Come on, bring all your prophets out. We're going to have a contest, me against everybody else. And it says in verse 19, now therefore stand and gather all Israel to me at Mount Carmel, 450 prophets of Baal, 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table. 850 versus 1. Again, I'm the man. For 3.5 years, I've controlled the country with the drought. And now I'm on the mountain. I am facing off all these prophets. And you know the showdown. Like, you know the story that he called down fire. They couldn't call down anything from their God. Elijah calls down fire. And then he commands, kill all the false prophets. And they do. I'm the man. I'm the man. And then he runs. Because one woman threatened his life, Jezebel. Now I want to ask you a question. What does it take to get you to fail? What does it get to take you to run? I'm the man. I'm the man. When you are the only one responsible for your success, you are isolated in your danger. Elijah was never the only prophet. Obadiah was right there with him. But one of the great failures of Elijah's life, and the reason he ran, the reason he hid, the reason he was frightened, is because he thought, I'm the man. You're not the man. I'm not the man. We're a community of brothers. And when you lose sight of that, you will take all the credit for the victory. But the very next day, you will be vulnerable to one woman chasing you into the desert, and you will cry to God, poor me, I'm the only one left. And even God said, I have 7,000 that have not bowed the knee to Baal. What is it about us as men that we feel like we have to do it all by ourselves? When God created us, He said, let us make man in our own image. Let us. We were made in community for community. And often I think as dudes, we're pretty good at taking care of our wives and kids. Like we understand that community. But gentlemen, there's some things that your wife can't do for you. You need a guy like me or a guy like somebody sitting next to you. If you don't have a circle of men that can call you out, that can do battle with you, that can sit with you in your own sorrow and fear, you will ultimately fail. This mountain, Mount Carmel, is the lesson of isolation. Men, we got to figure this out. And I think, as I was talking to Matt about this trip, we really had 3 goals. One is to do good for the nation of Nepal, these pastors here that we love. We want to come along and support you. We also want to support Matt in the mission of Quench for ongoing work. But my motive, you're my guys. You're my church. You're my brotherhood and fellowship. And I just want to commit to you guys right now, after walking this distance, we're inner circle with each other. So I pledge right now fidelity to you. We'll be brothers. Amen?
Amen.